My songbook. It's here somewhere. All right. All right. Something simple tonight. Make sure the streaming is working. Well, somehow we're working again. Wait a second. Huh. Somehow or another. Oh, now it's working. Okay. Let's get the guitar and then we'll be ready to roll. All righty. Okay. Jijago, Jijago, Gorachana Bore, Jijago, Jijago, Gorachana Bore, Kotanithra, Yaumaya. Visachira Kode Kotanitra Yaumaya Visachira Kode Bana Jiva Panya Ese Samsara Vita Nene Bajiva Banya Ese Samsara Karedi Punya Really to me Abhijara Ray Muli Really to me Vijara Bare Tomare, like tell me, I knew Avatara. Tomare, like tell me, I knew Avatara. Maybe not, I knew Aragat. Mara Ami Vina Banuara Tomara NHS Shori Maya Nasiparaka NHS Shori Maya Sipar lagi Harinama mantra la tumimati Nama mantra la tumimati Vakati Vinoda Prabhu Jarane Patiya Vakati Vinoda Prabhu Jarane Patiya Say Hari Nama Mantra Loila Matiya Say Harinama Mantra Loila Matiya Jeev Jago Jeev Jago Gorachanda Lady Gojanitra Maya Isachirikone Kotanet Maya Isachirikone Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, 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 Nichai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parapatikachoria All Siptela Sitashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chaitanya Bhagavat Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Paturanam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Samariti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschachati Shatarni. Okay, so let me read the translation. Lord Gaurachandra is calling, wake up, sleeping soul, wake up, sleeping soul. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You've forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the cycle of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. I'm your only true friend. Other than me, you have no friend. What friend do you have? I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you suffer. Take this great chant for deliverance, Mahamantra, the names of Hari. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, falling at the Lord's lotus feet, take shelter of the Harinam mantra, the Lord's holy names. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Okay. Let's make sure. Okay, I think I need to close certain things down here. All right. Closing the other apps down. I have more memory for this program. Okay, that should be good enough. Okay, so now we're going to go into the Caitanya Bhagavat, written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And so first, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda. So we're just starting a new chapter. Previous chapter we heard about after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's brother Vishwarup took sannyas, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parents, especially Jagannath Mishra, got really upset that not only was that son or had that son taken sannyas, but he got upset thinking that Nimai was going to take sannyas, so he thought, let's prevent it. So the only way to prevent someone from taking sannyas, he thought, was basically not to get him married, but to actually prevent him from getting any sort of education. So he did that. Lord Chaitanya became more of a rascal. Nimai became more of a rascal. Then he even sat on some rejected cooking pots, and that way he convinced his parents to send him back to school. And he was happy at that particular juncture going back to school. So, in this next chapter, we're going to read about the passing of Jagannath Mishra from this world. So, let's start. All right, we'll share the screen. It's got so many windows open. No wonder. Okay. And this is called Chapter 8, The Disappearance of Jagannath Mishra. Let me adjust these windows. All right, and this is, I mean, all these chapters are very ecstatic with a lot, because I use the word ecstatic a lot, with a lot of lessons for all of us. It's a temporary world. It's a world of misery. Why are we here? We deserved it. That's right. You decided, you chose it. So I'm not going to read the chapter summary because that gives away the whole story. So we don't want to hear the story before we actually read the chapter, which would probably not be appropriate for us. And it's a long chapter's summary. Let's go to the first text. Jaya Jaya Kripa Sindhu Shri Gaura Sundara Jai Shachi Jagannatha Griha Shashadharha. All glories to Shri Gaurasundara, the ocean of mercy. All glories to the moon-like Lord in the house of Shachi and Jagannath. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Surupera Prana. Jaya Jaya Sankirtana Dharamera Nidana. All glories to the life and soul of Nityananda Swarupa. All glories to the inaugurator of the congregational chanting of the holy names. So, let's see if there's a long purport. No, we can read this one. So there's a famous verse from the Bhagavatam. Sri Gaurasundara is the inaugurator of devotional service in the form of chanting the holy names. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam Krishna Varnam, Tvisha Krishnam Sango Panga Sraparshanam Yagyai Sankartira Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Sametasat. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna, although his complexion is not blackish. He is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. In his commentary in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23-24, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Srila Jiva Goswami has written about the preaching of devotional service in the form of chanting the holy names of Sri Caitanya Deva, the deliverer of people in the age of Kali, as follows. Therefore, although in the age of Kali other processes of devotional service are to be performed, they must always be accompanied by the chanting of the holy names. It is also mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Adi Leela 377. Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the initiator of Sankirtan, congregational chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who worships him through Sankirtan is fortunate indeed. So this is very interesting. You have the 9 processes of devotional service. And of course the first 2 are hearing and chanting. I mean, obviously that's in relationship to chanting the holy name. But the others need to have the hearing and chanting combined to be effective and to help one advance in spiritual life. Otherwise, they're not going to be effective. If you just do rituals or you just do deity worship and you're not chanting or not hearing the holy names, it's not effective. Everything has to be based on hearing the holy names. Ekon Dharma Krishna Nam Sankirtan. There is actually one Dharma in Kali Yuga, which is Krishna Nam Sankirtan. So, Bhakta Goshti Sahita Goranga Jaya Jaya. Shunile Chaitanikata Bhakti Labhya Hoya. All glorious to Sri Gauranga, along with his devotees and associates. By hearing the topics of Lord Chaitanya, one attains devotional service of the Lord and to the Lord. Henamate Mahaprabhu Jagannatha Gare Nigure Achena Keha Chinite Na Pare. In this way, as the Supreme Lord confidentially resided in the house of Jagannath Mishra, no one was able to recognize him. That's what confidentially, in other words, practically no one understood. Balya Krida Nama Yata Che Pradivite Sakala Kilaya Prabhu Ke Pare Kaite. The Lord enjoyed every variety of childhood sports found in the world. Who can describe them all? Veda Dware Vyakta Heve Sakala Purane Kichu Sheshe Shunive Sakala Vagyavane. These pastimes will later be described through the Vedas and all the Puranas, and fortunate souls will hear about them. Let's see how long this is. Yeah, probably. Whoops. Yeah, all right. We will read it. I'm trying to avoid the longer purports. The word Veda refers to 1, Vishnu, 2, the Shrutis. Shrutis means the Vedic literatures like the Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharva Veda, and also the Upanishads. 3, Amnayas, 4, the Chandas, 5, the Brahmanas, and 6, the Nigamas. So these are different aspects of the Vedic literatures. The word Purana refers to the 18 Puranas, the 20 Upa Puranas, smaller Puranas, and the histories. Of course, sometimes the histories are mentioned separately as Itihasa. Itihasa means thus it happened. And the word Purana means old. Although the topics of Sri Gaura Sundara, the covered incarnation, are more or less explained in all the Puranas, they are not clearly described. Lord Vishnu resides in the hearts of the Vaishnavas, and the topics of Lord Vishnu emanate from the mouths of the Vaishnavas. Therefore, the wonderful activities of Sri Gaura Sundara will later be described by Vaishnavacharyas in their commentaries on the Puranas. The Vedic literatures emanate from the breathing of Lord Vishnu. Srila Vyasadeva, who divided the Vedas, that's why he's called Vyasadeva, because that means the Lord who divided the Vedas, and has appeared in this age of Kali as Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author of Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, which is non-different from Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Sri Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu has written about Sri Caitanya Bhagavat as follows. The subject matter of this book is so sublime that it appears that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally spoken through the writings of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. Wow. The eternality of Vedic literature is not denied by the use of future tense in the phrase Vedadvare Vyakta Heve. In different Manvantaras and in the beginning of different yugas, Lord Narayan reveals Vedic knowledge in the heart of the servant Brahma and preaches his transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes through Srila Vyasadeva. And Vyasadev's spiritual master is Narada Muni. Wow. And Narada Muni's guru is Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma's guru is the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And Garbhodakshaya Vishnu doesn't need a guru. Matagoda Chandra Balya Rase Bola Yagnopavitera Kala Asya Milila. As Sri Gaurasundar remained fully absorbed in his childhood pastimes, the time came for his accepting a Brahmin thread. Some say that the word Bula is a corruption of the word Bula, which means madden or forgetting oneself. Regarding the words Dagno Pavi Tera Kala, it is stated in the Vedas, Ashtavarsham Brahmanam Upana Ita. When the son of a Brahmin becomes 8 years old, he should be awarded this sacred thread. In this statement, the word Brahmana refers to those who will become Brahmanas in the future. The Srimad Bhagavatam 11.17.39 statement, Graharti Sadrasham Bharyam Udavahet. One who desires to establish family life should marry a wife of his own caste. Refers to those who accept wives in the future, and in the same way, a non-Brahmin who will become a Brahmin in the future is called a Brahmana. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 7.11.13 it is stated, Samskara Yatra Vichina Tadvijo Jo Jagada Yam. Those who have been reformed by the Garbhodan ceremony and other prescribed reformatory methods, performed with Vedic mantras and without interruption, who have been approved by Lord Brahma, are Dvijas or twice born. In the Vishnu Yamala it is stated, Ashuda Shudra Kalpahi Brahmana Kali Sambhava Tesham Agama Margena Shudhir Na Srotra Bhartmana. The Brahmanas born in the age of Kali are merely Shudras. Their so-called Vedic path of karma is polluted and cannot purify them. They can only be purified by following the path of the Agamas or Pancharatraki Vidi. Pancharatraki Vidi means the instructions on deity worship and Vaishnava rituals, like we have the Narda Pancharatra. From this statement, and this Agamas is the same thing. From this statement, it is understood that due to the lack of purity in family lines in the age of Kali or quarrel, one should become purified through the process of Pancharatraki initiation. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam 7.11.35 states, Yashal Yalakshanam Proktam Pumso Varna Bhivyanjakam Yadan Yatrapi Drsheta Tatinaiva Venir Deshet. If one shows the symptoms of being, this is a long purport. Okay, and I'm going to just summarize it. Let's just, very long. Okay. All right. So the summary is, that everyone born in Kali Yuga, Kalo Shudra Sambhavat, everyone born in Kali Yuga is a Shudra. Janmana Jayate Shudra. Regardless of their family name, heritage, genetics, whatever, they're Shudras. Unless they're some Shaktavesha avatar, like Prabhupada. But anyway, they're Shudras in Kali Yuga, and only by samskara, samskara means reformatory practice, can they actually come to the point of Dvija. Dvija means Brahman. Actually means twice born. Dvija. First birth is from the mother, when you plop out of the mother. The second birth is from the spiritual master. When he gives you instructions in spiritual life and gives you different mantras, especially the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to chant. So those are the two births. So that's human birth. The second birth is human birth. And the first birth is animal birth. Of course, one could still perform devotional service, but really one becomes a human. Samskara bhavat dvijam, when one actually gets the samskara and functions according to the samskara. It's not enough to get the samskara. Samskara in this particular context means a ceremony that creates an impression. We talked about this before, that the whole point is to have impressions on the subtle body. We have a subtle body. Subtle body is the body of mind, intelligence, and false ego that carries our desires, conceptions of life, mentality from one body to another, and also helps us function. Doesn't help us, it guides us in this material world. So the whole idea is to shape the subtle body in such a way that one can rise through the modes and ultimately come to the standard of being a devotee, but at least before that become a Brahmin. So at 8 years of age, the tradition was the little boy in a family that had other Brahmins was given the Brahmin thread. It's not that he became a Brahmin at that point, but he was given the opportunity to chant the Brahma Gayatri, which is the first Gayatri mantra. And being given that opportunity, he could purify himself. That's the beginning. But after that, there was an actual spiritual initiation given by his eternal spiritual master. So in ISKCON, we give both of them at the same time. And even if one has had it before, had the mantra given to him before by the family guru, Kula Guru, ritualistic guru, still the person gets it again from someone connected to Prabhupada, or Prabhupada himself when Prabhupada was on the planet. But it's not that one becomes a Brahmin. One becomes a Brahmin by having the qualities of a Brahmin, as Krishna says in the Gita, Chatur Varnam Ayashvishtam Guna Karma Vivargasha. One is known to be one member of the four basic orders, that's Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, by his good qualities and by his work. So that's really the point. So anyway, so there's different purificatory rites. We don't necessarily have to follow all the purificatory rites. When you actually chant the holy names, then that's superlative to any sort of purificatory rite you can actually think of. You shouldn't compare it. Think of comparing it. It's almost demoniac to think of comparing the Hare Krishna. It is demoniac. Compare the chanting of Hare Krishna to any other ritualistic activity. I mean, it's like tomorrow we're going to do a housewarming, and hopefully there'll be chanting of Hare Krishna. Because without chanting of Hare Krishna, there is no auspiciousness, no matter how many kumbhas or you bring into the house or anything like that. There's no auspiciousness unless there's the chanting of Hare Krishna. And if there's the chanting of Hare Krishna, even if everything else goes wrong, everything's auspicious. Of course, that doesn't excuse you to be completely derelict in your duties and just chant Hare Krishna. You still have to function normally and try your best. You cannot take service from the holy name. You're supposed to serve the holy name. Okay, so here's some more information about the initiation of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This is not his spiritual initiation. This is the Brahma Gayatri. When the Vaishnava Guru gives the Brahma Gayatri later on, when one is actually fixed in his vows, an 8-year-old kid is not fixed in their vows. So when one is actually fixed in one's vows and one takes the Gayatri mantra, then that's a different thing. But then the Brahma Gayatri becomes let's say, imbued, or it always had spiritual potency, but it becomes, let us say, chanted in such a way that it helps one get devotional service or advance in devotional service. So it's a little bit different. If one doesn't accept the mantra from a Vaishnava, then I doubt if it'll have any potency anyway. So for the sacred thread, Yagna Sutra Putrera Dibare Mishravara Bandhu Varga Takiya Andila Nijagara. For the sacred thread ceremony of his son, Jagannath Mishra invited all of his friends and relatives to his house. It's standard, whenever you have something, you invite all your friends, all your relatives. And nowadays, because people are all over the world, then if you have some ceremony, marriage, sacred ceremony, people fly from all over just to be there. It's better just to do it on Zoom and save your money. I mean, I've seen marriages where people come from all over the world, and there's probably like several $100,000 being spent just in transportation. And then the marriage, people spend 100, 200, 300, 400, 500,000, go into debt for the rest of their lives to pay for some marriage. And I think the couples getting married would much rather have that money to start their life with. But, it's just like, this social life. Oh my God. Social life concerned with how you think and how you feel and how you look. Oh my God. Of course, with Lord Caitanya, I would go there for Lord Chaitanya's sacred thread ceremony. But people in this world are just so concerned. I was reading an essay one of my dear disciples wrote today. Didn't write today, but I'm reading it today. Is about how they were so absorbed in bodily consciousness and anxiety when they were young, and then they came to Krishna consciousness. They were relieved. Oh my God, I'm not this body. It's not important. My identity is not based upon how the body looks and all the different jewelry and nose rings and toes rings and hair and hairdressers and what else? Pedicures and manicures and nose jobs. And what type of glasses I have, whether these are really me or these glasses are really me. Oh my God, vanity. So everyone happily gathered there and assisted in various ways according to their ability. Strigane Jayadiya, Krishna Guna Gaya, Natagane Mridanga Shanai, or Sanai, probably pronounced it Shanai, Avamshi Bhaya. The women chanted Krishna's glories and the musicians played Mridanga, Shanai, probably pronounced it Shanai, all right, I'll just say Sanai. I guess in Hindi it may be Shanai or whatever, or modern Bengali or whatever. Sanai and flute. Boy, they had the band. I remember when I had my, not sacred thing, when I was a kid, 13, we had a ceremony like, oh yes, now I am a man. They had a whole band there, but it wasn't spiritual like Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's sacred thread ceremony. In my sacred, not sacred thread ceremony, but with my ceremony that I had before I joined the movement, there were dancing and mundane music and dancing between boys and girls. I'm sure this didn't happen at Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's sacred thread ceremony. Vipra Gane Veda Pade Bate Rayabhara Shachi Grihe Haila Ananda Avatara. The Brahmanas recited the Vedas and the professional blessers chanted prayers. Thus Sachi Devi's house appeared as the incarnation of ecstasy. So the word Rayabhara means prayers or songs of glorification as well as recitings of prayers of the messenger. The phrase Haila Ananda Avatara means happiness personified has appeared. In other words, the marketplace of happiness has manifested. So you have people who just make a living by profession, by blessing. That's an easy way. I mean, you don't have to do too much. What do you do for a living? I bless people. And actually, in India, I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have people made a living by being professional criers. And so they would show up at the funerals and they would cry, which is not really auspicious at a funeral. I mean, you can cry, that's fine. But at a funeral, the best thing is chanting the whole Lord's holy names. I was at one funeral once, and we had this devotees there. We were doing a nice kirtan, and then all the ladies came forth. This was actually at the cremation, and they were getting ready to put the body into the oven. And so the ladies came forth, and there was wailing and thrashing. Oh my God. It was like the sirens, Jason and the Argonaut, the sirens. Anyway, so it wasn't attractive. But so there was wailing and thrashing. And I was trying to chant. I just, maybe we'll just chant louder. And then the men who were concerned with their dear wives said, stop the kirtan. Don't chant the holy name. They didn't say holy name. No chanting. Let the ladies cry. Well, it wasn't a good idea because that was the time the body was cremated. That's the time you want to have the chanting the holy name, not just crying, because the body, if the soul is still hovering around, the soul is going to just feel so miserable and attached and maybe remain as a ghost just to pacify the women. Of course, that won't pacify anybody having a ghost around. Phew. So that was, that was just so intense. So intense. I'm thinking, oh my God, how inauspicious. That's why ladies usually are not invited to the crematorium. Because that's the moment of truth. Why is there cremation? One of the big reasons there's cremation is so that the soul will go on, because the very object the soul is attached to is no longer existing. It's finished. Bas. Kaput. Finished. Pile of ashes. I mean, who's going to be attached to a pile of ashes? Oh, that's me, that pile of ashes. I better stick around for the pile of ashes. No. But if the soul sees and hears people like express an extreme attachment, the soul feels so guilty, I better stay around. Not auspicious. So Yajna Sutra Daribena Shigora Sundara Shubha Yoga Sakala Aila Shachigara. As Shigora Sundara accepted the Brahman thread, all the auspicious planetary conjunctions fell on the house of Shachi. Shubha Mase, Shubha Dine, Shubha Kshara Dari. Dari Lena Yajna Sutra Goranga Shri Hari. The month, day, and moment were all auspicious as Sri Gaurahari accepted the Brahman thread. Shobila Sri Ange Yajna Sutra Manohara Shukshma Rupe Sheshava Vedidla Kelevara. The enchanting thread beautified the body of the Lord as if Anantashesh surrounded his body in a subtle form. And here it's explained. The sacred thread form of Anantashesh is mentioned in the Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 5, 123, 124 as follows. He serves Lord Krishna assuming all the following forms: umbrella, slippers, bedding, pillow, garments, resting chairs, residence, sacred thread, and throne. He is thus called Lord Shesha, for he has attained the ultimate end of servitude to Krishna. That's what Shesha means, the end. And Ananta Shesha means no end, or unlimited end. So he takes the Ananta, Ananta, no end, no end. Shit, that's interesting. He takes many forms for the service of Krishna, and thus he serves the Lord. So in other words, the temple is a manifestation of Ananta Shesh. The Singhasan is a manifestation of Ananta Shesh. The clothes, the paraphernalia of the deities. So these should all be treated with great awe and reverence. Haila Vamana Rupa, Prabhu Gaurachandra, Dekite Sabarapade, Paramananda. Everyone was most pleased to see how Lord Gaurachandra resembled Vamanadeva. Let's see if there's this is one of these long reports. We'll just skip over that because you all know the story of Lord Vamanadeva. Apurva Brahmanya Teja Deki Sarvagane, Naragyana Arakaya, Nahikare Mane. Unseen in this wonderful Brahman effulgence, no one considered him an ordinary child. For an elaboration on the word Brahmanya Teja, it means the power of a Brahman, one should refer to the Srimad Bhagavatam 8.18.8, and for an explanation of the second line, one should refer to Srimad Bhagavatam 8.18.22. Hate Danda Kande Jule Shri Gora Sundara Bhikshakare Prabhu Sarva Seva Kera Gara. Then with stick in his hand and bag on his shoulder, Shri Gora Sundara went to beg alms at the houses of the devotees, his devotees. So this is interesting. At the time of the sacred thread ceremony, the brahmachari should recite the Gayatri Mantra before the acharya, and he should accept a sacred thread, a belt made of straw, kopinas, that's the underwear, deerskin garments, a danda, a water pot, a ring of kusha grass. You've seen that sometimes. People have a ring of kusha grass. An umbrella, prayer beads, japa beads, and a container bag for begging alms. Being decorated in this way, he should beg alms from his mothers. The sacred thread ceremony of Shri Gaurasundara was properly performed just like the ceremony of Shri Vamanadeva as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam 8:18-14-17. Now, these alms, that means charity, that he's begging, are given to the guru. It's not that he says, oh, this is great. I remember the ceremony I had, not before I came to the movement, but it was, similar type of samskara in a different religion. And I actually collected alms. I stayed at the door and I wouldn't let anyone get out without giving money. But that money was actually, all right, it was for me. It was actually invested by my parents. And later on, I got that money and gave it all to the Hare Krishna movement. And that's why my mother didn't want to leave me money when she passed away. Because I would give everything to Krishna. Even my bar mitzvah money. So, Yara Yata Shakti Bhiksha Save Santoshe Prabhora Julite Dia Nari Gana. Say everyone in satisfaction, everyone gave in satisfaction according to their ability. All the women smiled as they put their alms in the Lord's bag. Dvijapatni Vrupadari Brahmani Rudrani Yatapati Vrata Muni Vagera Grihini. The chaste wives of Brahma, Shiva, and various great sages all took the form of Brahmana's wives. So in other words, these great demigods and sages and everything like that, they actually appeared as Brahman's wives. That's really interesting. Let me just check something. Yeah. So the word Brahmani refers to goddess Saraswati, and the word Rudrani refers to goddess Parvati. The words Muni Grihini referred to the sages' wives like Aditi, Anasuya, Arundhati, and Devahuti. So all these great personalities were there, blessing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shivamana Vrupa Prabodha Dekya Santoshe Sabe Julite Bhiksha Dia Dia Hase. They felt great satisfaction seeing Vishwambara's Vamana form and smiled as they placed alms in the Lord's bag. Prabhu Karena Shri Vamana Rupa Lila Jivera Udara Lagi E Sakala Kela. The Lord also enjoyed his Vamana pastimes, which were enacted for the deliverance of the conditioned souls. Jaya Jaya Shri Vamana Rupa Gora Chandra Dana Deha Hridaya Tomara Paradwandva. All glories to Shri Gora Chandra, who accepted the form of Lord Vamana Dev. Please donate your lotus feet in charity to my heart. Wow. What an expression. Donate. Dana. Yeah, that's Dana Deha Hriya Tomara Pada. Tomara, your feet. Okay, very good. The second line of this verse means, O Gaurasundara, I pray that you manifest the lotus feet of your Vamana form in my heart. In this regard, one may refer to the complete surrender of Bali Maharaj recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th Canto, Chapter 22. Yeshune Prabhura Yagda Shutrera Gahana Sepaya Caitanya Chandra Charane Sharana. Whoever hears the topics of the Lord accepting a Brahman thread certainly attains shelter of Sri Chaitanya's lotus feet. So we're actually getting blessings. We didn't have to pay for the professional blessers to come to our house. We're getting blessings for free. This is Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratase Namaha. Lord Chaitanya is the most munificent incarnation or appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why do you say most munificent? Because he's giving out love of Krishna freely. Krishna Prema. And previously, people had to wait a long time. Mohunam Janmanamante. Hainamate Vakunta Nayaka Shachi Gare. Vedera Nikuda Nana Mata Krida Kare. In this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha enjoyed in the house of Shachi various pastimes that are unknown in the Vedas. The word Nayaka refers to the Lord, and the word Niguda means secret or confidential. Shri Gaura Narayan is the Lord of Vaikuntha, and he is a genius in all the scriptures and the source of the opulence of knowledge. Nevertheless, acting like an ordinary person, he rejected the foolish considerations of the material scholars and glorified the expert considerations of learned devotees by manifesting a desire to study grammar, just as Krishna studied under Sandipani Muni. Gari Savishastrera Bhushya Sangita Goshti Majay Prabhura Parite Hailachita. After properly understanding the meanings of the scriptures at home, the Lord desired to study in the company of his associates. The word Sangmita means proper endeavor, the desire, the comments, confidential meaning, or purport. The word Chitta is a gentle form of the word Chitta, which means heart or mind. Navadvipe Ache Adhyapaka Shiromani Gangadasa Pandita Yehena Sandipani. In Navadvip there resided the topmost teacher, Gangadas Pandit, who was non-different from Sandipani Muni. Sandipani Muni, of course, was Krishna's teacher in Ujjain. So, for a description of Gangadas Pandit, one should refer to the Caitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda, 2nd chapter, 99. So, this is the whole story, and we don't need to tell that story. The story is from the 10th canto Bhagavatam. Vyakarana shastrera ekanta tattvavet tanratani padite rabora sangita. He was in full knowledge of the grammatical literature, so the Lord desired to study under him. Of course, Krishna, he's the source of all knowledge. Lord Chaitanya is the source of all knowledge. He doesn't need to study under anybody. He's the source of the person's knowledge. But he acts like an ordinary person as an example. Bhushilena Putrera Ingita Mishra Bara, and also to have ras with his devotees. Putra Sange Gela Gangadasa Dvija Gara. Understanding the desire of his son, Jagannath Mishra took him to the house of the Brahmana Gangadas. The word Ingita means confidential desire, hint, or gesture. Mishradeki Ganga Dasa Sambrame Utila Alingana Karyeka Asane Vasila. When they arrived, Gangadas stood up out of respect and embraced Sri Mishra. They then sat together on an asana. Mishubole Putrami Dilun Tomas Dane Padaiba Shunaiba Sakalapane. Jagannath Mishra said, I'm offering you my son. Please teach him everything. Gangadasa Bole Balabhagya Se Amara Padaimu Yata Shakti Ache Amara. Gangadas replied, It is my great fortune. I will teach him to the best of my ability. Shishadeki Paramanande Gangadasa Putra Praya Karya Rakila Nija Pasha. Gangadas was most happy to see his new student, and he treated him like his own son. The word Praya means equal, and the word Pasha comes from the word Parsha, which means near. That's one and two more verses. Yata Vyakya Gangadasa Pandita Kadina Sakritsunine Matra Tathora Darina. After hearing only once, the Lord would assimilate whatever Gangadasa Pandit explained. The word Sakrit means once, and the word Dharena means to realize or master something by deliberation. Gurura Yateka Vyakya Karena Kandana Punarvara Se Vyakya Karena Stapana. He would refute the explanations of his guru and then again establish the explanation he had just refuted. So that's really what's taught. You have to establish a point or refute a point and then establish it again, refute your own refutation. It's really good training. And this is the Vedic scholar. So now we are going to stop sharing and allow you all to ask your questions. Okay. I have stopped sharing, and let's allow you to unmute yourselves. Righty. Okay, so anybody wants to unmute themselves or type in the text window, chat window, or raise
Hare
your
Krishna
hand.
Maharaj.
Okay, Nanda
Please
Gopal.
please accept my humble obeisance. This is all for Shri Prabhupada.
Oh,
Thank you
where's
for
Prabhupada?
wonderful class. I have two questions, Maharaj. First is you were touching upon Gayatri. So you said there is Brahma Gayatri. So what are different kinds of Gayatris? Is there?
Yeah, there are Vaishnavas who are following Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. They get 7 Gayatri mantras. There's the Brahma Gayatri, which is known to everybody in this world. You can even find it in Prabhupada's books. And then after the Brahma Gayatri, you got the Guru Gayatris. The Guru Gayatris. Guru Gayatris, anyway, I'm not going to get into the details of them. So, and after the Guru Gayatris, you have the Gora Gayatris. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then after that, you have the Gopal mantra. And then after that, you have the Kama Gayatri, which is about Radha. The Kama Gayatri is about Radha and Krishna. Gopal mantra also has Radharani and the gopis. But anyway, and then it's obvious what the Guru and the Gauranga mantras are. The Guru mantra is about meditating on the Guru and offering the respects of the Guru, and the same thing about Lord Gauranga. So there's 7 Gayatris total that are given to members in the Krishna consciousness movement. So in
Thank you,
addition,
Maharaj.
6 in addition to the Brahma Gayatri. There's the
Thank
Brahma
you.
Gayatri,
So
and even if one has gotten the Brahma Gayatri before, they will get it again because it's in actually a Gaudiya, a devotional context rather than a ritual context.
thank you. And the second question is that, as you said, like Brahma Gayatri is like universally known. So growing up in India, you were already like shared or encouraged to chant that aspect of mantra, Brahma Gayatri mantra.
Yeah.
So is it fine to chant that regularly, being a Vaishnav devotee?
Yeah, I mean, however, you generally in India, in most cases, you weren't given it in a devotional context. It was given in a cultural context. So it won't have the same devotional potency as if one had gotten it in the devotional context. Because there's different, I mean, without getting into a description analysis of the Brahma Gayatri, there's different analyses and meanings that can be derived from the Brahma Gayatri. And some of them are not, some of the meanings are not transcendental, and some are actually in relationship with Krishna uh, and are completely transcendental. And in any case, for the transcendental understanding and benefit from the Gayatri Mantra, then one must receive it in transcendental disciplic succession. Otherwise, it won't have that potency. Its potency will not be spiritual. It may be mode of goodness, but it won't be spiritual unless one receives it in disciplic succession. Succession, sampradaya vinay mantras tetnish balamata. All right.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
So here's a question from Praneshra, whose name is Om. What was the mood at the time in the morning, noon, and in the evening Gayatri Japa? My mood when I'm chanting is I'm meditating on the meaning of those different mantras. Whether it's the Guru Gayatri, the Gauranga Gayatri, or the Gopal Mantra, or the Kama Gayatri, and even the Brahma Gayatri. Brahma Gayatri, anyway, describes how Krishna manifests in this world. That's one meaning. There's many other meanings too of the Brahma Gayatri. So yeah, meditate on the meaning, whether it's the morning, noon, or evening. That's the mood. Uh, and morning means sunrise or midday, and the evening, of course, is sunset. That's the sanjas, the trees sanjas. It's interesting that when one is situated in certain countries, like the very far north or very far south, then sometimes you have the sanjas all occurring one after the other. That means, in other words, sometimes the sun rises at 11 o'clock in the morning, it's midday at 12, and the sun sets at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and then sometimes the sun doesn't rise. What do you do then? So, anyway, that's an interesting dilemma, one that was not contemplated, I think, by the sages in India. So, anybody else have a question? No? Okay.
My humble obeisances.
Okay, better make it a good question, Rakesh.
Yes, Gurudev. Yesterday's class you talked about Dattatray, when Gaurhari sat on the broken pots and he took the mood of Dattatray.
Dattatreya, yeah.
I'm just wondering, can you just tell me a bit significance of Dattatray, please?
Well, Dattatreya is the son of Atri Muni, and Atri Muni prayed for an incarnation of the absolute truth, and he wasn't so sure that who the absolute truth was, so he got uh, three: Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And Dattatreya is an incarnation of the Lord, and also Durvasa is Lord Shiva. Anyway, so anyway, so basically, Dattatreya was performing very heavy austerities and detachment from the material world, a great sage. So Lord Chaitanya looked like a great sage sitting on a place that was, let's say, not considered the best place in the world. That's why.
Thank you,
Okay.
Gurudev.
And so one other question. So when I some chant the Gayatri Mantra silently, is it okay? I've heard that it's all right, but Prabhupada always gave the instruction to murmur when you chant the Gayatri. Murmur means, I mean, at least I'm following Prabhupada's instructions. Murmur means like under your breath, like that, so no one else could hear. Very softly, so no one else could hear. Okay, time to end. Thank you very much. See everybody tomorrow. Tomorrow's Ekadasi here. The next day we're having Rath Yatra, a big Rath Yatra during the parade. It's actually better to have Rath Yatras during a parade because you get much more exposure for the same or less amount of money, and you don't have to pay the police or anything like that. You get 100 times, 1,000 times the exposure. So I was just wondering why people do standalone Rath Yatras. But anyway, so we doing it as part of the Christmas parade, and I will be on the float in the back of a truck playing my guitar. That should be exciting. And there'll be a Rath Yatra cart in front of us. So this is the first time I've done this during Rath Yatras, but I can get away with anything. So on that happy note, see everybody